As what do you make of the happenings in Parliament? Majority appearing not to be ready and with fewer members, and minority also appearing to be ready with their numbers intact.
Thank you very much for the opportunity and good afternoon to our cherished viewers. I think that in the run-up to the swearing-in of the president, especially on 7th January, your colleague and I sat in the studios and we discussed about some of these tussles that will be coming up, especially in Parliament. And here we are. I believe that it's all about numbers. Everybody is jostling for numerical strength when it has to do with issues that are brought before Parliament that have rippling effect on national governance. But then again, it goes back to our conversations and advocacies about Parliament not releasing many of its members to the executive to be ministers. It weakens Parliament in quote. It weakens Parliament in quote. And this is a clear case scenario as to why majority of ministers are not supposed to indeed come from Parliament. Most of them are also on boards. Boards are meeting deputy ministers. We have ministers who are outside the jurisdiction of Ghana, ministers who are even in Ghana but are outside Accra, also seeing to other equally important duties in the interest of Ghana. But Francisca, I would like us to forget about the numerical strength and then focus on the substance of the issue, that is the economic policy that has been presented before Parliament that will be used as an anchor for economic transformation.
Very well. Before you touch on that second aspect, I just want to throw this in, which earlier was indicated by one of the economists as well as my senior colleague Paul Adomotri, that this perhaps enriches democracy, having this split or hang where the numbers will decide, enriches the democracy if you look at other developed nations.
Francisca, indeed it does. It does enrich democracy. But you and I know very well that the sort of democracy, the sort of good governance that we practice in Ghana here is hinged on political ideologies, political affiliations, and political strength. So in other jurisdictions that are well advanced in good governance, it will be at the center of it all, will be the vision of that country, the plan of that country, and the dream of that country. So when everybody pulls left, right, center, we are all aiming towards one. That is the vision of the country, the dream of the country, where we want to get to. But in our case over here, everybody is looking at the weakness of the other party to use it as more or less a missile, so that he or she will be able to amass more support, make the other party look bad in the public eye, and take advantage, especially in the general elections. So yes, democracy, it happened whilst we were even selecting the Speaker of Parliament. We used democracy. It happened when the president was reading his inaugural speech. You remember the key statements that he made, especially the neutrality or non-neutrality of the speaker this time around, not coming from the governing party. All these things, we thought that statements that have been made, but you and I can see the posture of the minority, you and I can see the posture of the majority, and to crown it all, you have seen the posture of the Speaker of Parliament and even his utterances, i.e., as to where he falls in the hierarchy of power in Ghana here. So yes, it deepens our democracy, it beautifies it, it gives more people hope that even though when we have the equal numbers in Parliament, we would be able to come up with something beneficial in the interest of Ghana. By the side attractions, Francisca, the side attractions in Ghana are so much so that people are not even interested in the content of the whole issue, but they are more interested in the side attractions that come, because somebody might see it as a weakness, another person might see it as a strength. Francisca.
On the bit of the speaker, I think the speaker has, in the past or in more recent past, made it clear his objectivity that he is speaker for the House. He's not NDC or he doesn't favor MPP. He is speaker of the House. I guess the question about your number and what so on appeared to be a banter between the executive and the legislature. I don't know. But the question I want to...
It does. It does, Francisca. Indeed, it does. But it boils down to where does your political affiliation sway to? What is your political ideology? Are you a capitalist? Are you a socialist? Do you believe in the plans there set off in the constitution or in the manifesto of the governing party? So, hitherto, this is not the conventional, this is not the norm. We are experiencing something new. Mm-hmm. So the speaker wanting to probably also affirm his authority, especially in the House of Parliament, and to tell the executive that, hey, regardless of whatever you do, you still come back to us as a means of accountability and as a means of even passing your economic policies. So, hey, relax. Let us all work hand in hand. You need to use the strategy of political lobbying to get more people, even on the opposite side, to your side. It is all about not you, the winner takes it all, but in reality, let us practice the all-inclusiveness, the participatory governance that the World Bank and other Bretton Woods institutions have set thereof. So it's about power play. It's also about satisfying the thirst and hunger of their followers, i.e. the minority and also the majority. Francisca.
So at the end of the day, it's still about numbers. You rightly said, just when the last parliament went to its close, when we had the hang and we had to even elect a speaker that will be sitting on what will be a majority side, but a speaker that previously was from the minority side, all of these would have been anticipated. The question really is that it appears the majority hasn't done its preparation quite well. Do you agree?
Francisca, it's not about preparations, but it's about their inability to control those who have been drifted into the executive. Their inability to control those who have been drifted into the executive. So when you have a majority of or a chunk of your members drifted into executive who are supposed to also take duties, it limits you and it weakens your strength. They might desire to work in the interest of their constituents. They might desire to work and give us that power that the minority or the majority really desires. But here lies the case that the president says that I need this number of people supposed to come and help me, even on board of state-owned institutions. And then the next thing is that, Francisca, when the 8th Parliament was sworn in, you have realized that consistently, both the leadership and then the other members, through their utterances and their posture, presupposes that, hey, we are supposed to come in and lobby. We are supposed to come in with more or less the weaker vessel. But here lies the case that any time that the majority speaks, it speaks with some sort of authority. It speaks with some sort of, hey, we don't need you. It speaks with an authority that we are in control. But it doesn't work that way. Time without number. Haruna Idrisu, the minority leader, has stated that even though they know that numerically they are weak, it is imperative that whatever decision that comes from the executive, at least by far an arm's reach out to the minority, seek their opinion, let them have your buy-in. So this is what we do the conclave discussions. You remember when the speaker was about being selected, all the leadership went into conclave. You need to go into conclave. You need to also you need to let people buy into your ideas. So you do the lobbying behind the scenes. Even before you come even onto the floor of parliament, you would have been able to convince other people who are hitherto not so loud on the floor of parliament, who are hitherto not so much of supporting the ideologies of the NDC, though they went into parliament on the ticket of the NDC. But the lobbying part of the majority has been weakened, and they have come in with the posture of we are in charge, we don't need you. And then the minority also say that, oh, when it comes to passing of bills, when it comes to passing of agreements and loans and other things that we are supposed to be in Parliament, we also have the numbers. Mind you, the only responsibility for the minorities is, one, to attend to Parliament duties, and then also to go back to their constituencies, Francisca. But with the majority, a lot of them need to do a whole lot of things, because you are looking at sustaining this government and probably go into the full swing of, in quotes, breaking the eight. How are you using your position, especially in government, to amass support and also to simmer down tempers in your constituencies and let them know that though things are very hard now, in the next 4 years, we will be able to also break the eight and things will be better. Let us swallow the bitter pill now and things will be okay. So it is about the posture of the majority, telling the minority that we don't need you. But when it comes to the floor of Parliament, indeed, numbers matter.
Do you think the minority is flexing its muscle, knowing that the tides appear to be in their favor?
Indeed. I mean, hey, what do you think? I mean, you don't need me. This is the time that you need me. So if I have the numbers are the ones that are going to give you the power to be able to also do your business, government business, come the next fiscal year. If you don't have the numbers, at least I also flex my muscles, because here is the time that I need to let you know how important I am to you as a government. And I wouldn't be surprised, Francisca, that when all is said and done and then Parliament sits down, whether in the next 1 hour or 30 minutes, that even other people from the other minority side, just as the majority side, certain people voted for Speaker Abangbagbe, other people will even vote when especially they decide that they want to do secret voting or secret balloting. It is possible that other members of the minority side will even vote in support of the budget.